10 more things about World War I, just in time for the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. Number 1. The politics of 19th century Europe were messy. The early 20th century saw many alliances and rivalries formed between these countries. Germany began building its navy to match the British, so the Brits built even more. Germany fell out with France in 1905 when Germany supported the Sultan of French-controlled Morocco against France. Austria-Hungary had taken Bosnia-Herzegovina from the Ottoman Empire, holding it as a protectorate for years. But when they officially annexed it in 1908, it annoyed the Serbs, the Russians, and the Italians. In 1911, Italy and the Ottoman Empire went to war in North Africa, creating even more tensions. The Balkan Wars saw various Balkan states fight the Ottomans back, creating a rise in unity among the South Slavic peoples. Number 2. The German Reich was only a relatively newer empire compared to its neighbours. Before the unification of Germany in 1871, the Germanies were a complex series of kingdoms, grand duchies, principalities, free Hanseatic states, and one imperial territory. In the past, they had been unified by the Holy Roman Empire, but that was dissolved by Napoleon. Throughout the 19th century, the idea of a unified Germany united by a common language and culture grew and eventually became a reality, controlled from Berlin in Prussia. Germany became an extremely technologically advanced nation very quickly. Number 3. The former Chancellor of the German Reich, Otto von Bismarck, had warned Kaiser Wilhelm back in 1897 that one day the Great European War will come out of some damn foolish thing in the Balkans. Number 4. The European colonies around the world went to war with each other, such as British New Zealand occupying German Samoa. French and British troops invaded German Togoland and Cameroon. Number 5. Because of German presence in the Pacific, Japan declared war on Germany and Austria-Hungary. Number 6. Because of the nature of the overseas colonies, many countries were brought into the war simply because they were part of the empire, despite the fight being focused in Europe and concerned European leaders. Great support for Britain came from India, hoping it would help further Indian home rule. Number 7. An interesting thing to note is that King George V of England and Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany were first cousins, sharing Queen Victoria as a grandmother. Tsar Nicholas II of Russia was the first cousin of George on the other side, and he was a third cousin of Wilhelm, and indeed Nicholas was married to another first cousin of George and Wilhelm. It was essentially one great big family feud. Number 8. It was in the aftermath of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the Arab Revolution that Britain would establish the State of Palestine and the French would establish the states of Syria and Lebanon, among many other Middle Eastern states. Number 9. To add insult to injury, the Spanish flu epidemic, which spread across the world towards the end and after the war, killed more people across the world than the Great War itself. Number 10. The League of Nations was set up so no countries could fall out ever again. People hoped that it would indeed have been the war to end all wars. Unfortunately, they were mistaken. And here we are now remembering 100 years after the end of the First World War. It really gives you an idea as to how long the war lasted. I posted up my first video about World War I about a few months before the centenary of the beginning of World War I back in 2014. Think back to yourself. What were you doing in the summer of 2014? Where were you? Think about how long ago that was, and this can help give you an idea of just how long this war lasted. World War I is one of the many lessons in history where we see just how delicate international relationships can be and how slippery that slope into hell is once that first shot is fired. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. There are books and merchandise on sale at johndruddy.com. Check it out. Help support the creation of new videos by pledging on Patreon. This episode was helped by these wonderful folks. Thanks as always. More videos coming soon.